It's the Movie Toasty Show, here for you. Dennis and Adam joke about orgasms and sweet movie reviews. We talk about TV too, right?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah! Movie Toast.
Hey, what's up, Toasties? What's up, Adam? How we doing
What's
today?
going on, Dennis? What's up, listeners? Welcome to episode 213 of Movie Toast News and Reviews. I feel so weird saying 213. It still feels like we should be in the hundreds.
I mean,
I don't know.
there's two of those hundreds, so it's technically true. You can
That's
still stay
true.
in the hundreds.
Fair enough. What's new? What's
Oh.
going on? How's
Not
life?
too much. Had a good time at a concert last weekend with my wife. Her final round of the birthday fun, only to get sick the next day. And I've just today we're finally starting to feel like humans again. So thankfully, on the mend, getting better. Got some reviews. I'm anxious to get out to these toasties though. So, what about you, man?
Yes, I'm in the same place I've always been, so I can't complain. But I'm excited for this episode because we got so much news to talk about. We got 6 brand new movies that just opened this previous weekend.
Yes.
So, well, that's a lie. One of them came out the previous weekend before, but
Dirty liar.
it doesn't matter. New enough, new adjacent. But maybe we should start this bad boy off with a little thing we like to call news.
Gather round, folks, it's time for the scoop. Tune your ears in, let's join the loop.
All right, here joining the loop up first, Dennis. We now have a couple of cast members joining the new Harry Potter Max series. We finally have confirmation that John Lithgow will be Dumbledore, Janet McTeer will be McGonagall, Papa Esitu is Snape. I'm saying his name wrong. Nick Frost is Hagrid, and then there's a few other people that I don't know at this time because I didn't do my research enough. But how do you feel about some of this?
I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to seeing this era of Hogwarts, and we're our age group especially. We're coming into this getting a new chance to enjoy a lot of these things, whether you're introducing these stories to your children or other audience members, and everyone's kind of realizing, hey, we're not quite over all these things anymore. Or yet,
Yeah.
Let's go back. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun time.
Definitely.
HBO's had a great time bringing a lot of properties to light that deserve attention, and they can execute them very well. Has just enough fan service while still giving us a very intriguing and riveting story. So let's have it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am with you on that. All right, up next, we have some more cast members joining the sequel to Ready or Not, and we now know it's called Ready or Not, Here I Come. A pretty decent title, I think. We have Sarah Michelle Gellar joining, Elijah Wood, and Kevin Durant. I feel like those are some interesting people.
I'll be honest, not a group of people I would have thought of myself to put together, but each one of those components, they're all fantastic performers. So why not? I
bring them together.
Yeah. And I don't remember the last time I've seen Sarah Michelle Gellar in something for me personally. So
it's been a while. Cool. Oh no, I lie. She was on the prequel series of Dexter recently as a new character.
Well, there we go. Oh, nice.
Not everyone's watching that. But still it'd be nice seeing her on the big screen again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little renaissance with the Buffy revival, hopefully. We'll find out. All right. Well, up next, it seems as if Netflix has saved an R-rated animated movie that WB scrapped. A movie by Genndy Tartakovsky. I'm saying his fucking
Genndy Tartakovsky.
That motherfucker. Yes. Yeah. He has a movie called Fixed, which is about a dog who's living it up one last day before he goes and gets snipped. And it has a fantastic cast. We got Adam Devine, Idris Elba, Catherine Hahn, and a couple other comedic talents. And I don't know. I'm looking forward to this because it has like this old school animation look to it, but with an adult flair, I think.
It's the style he's known for. It's the style we grew up watching. I've always drawn to the heavy cell shade sort of
Yes,
style, and you know his sense of humor, he's going to nail it just right. So,
100%.
that should be a fun time, especially with that cast. You know, those voices are
Yeah.
gonna fly up the tree, and that's gonna be great. So,
Mhm.
thank you Netflix for keeping an incredible
Yeah.
animator and story writer going. I will
Mhm.
never get tired of watching his stuff. So, as you can see in the
Agreed.
those of you watching the stream, the background, I just love that it's from his Clone Wars series. Pointed that out to Adam as we were starting and didn't even realize all the Gennady splashing across the stream here. So
You gotta keep it
badass.
alive sometimes,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of a badass director, Judd Apatow is joining forces with Mr. Glenn Powell to write and direct. Both of them are writing a movie about a country western star on the decline. I feel like this is an
Oh.
interesting pairing.
Interesting. Yeah. It's like, although it's a story we've seen, it's that style of story has been told a few times before. Let's be honest. Glenn Powell is a powerhouse. Judd Apatow,
Mm-hmm.
powerhouse.
Yes.
So, you know, they're going to tell something interesting and they're going to put their twist onto whatever that thing is. Twist.
And I like when he gets really sit down with an artist and like create a story, like with Amy Schumer and Trainwreck and
Yes.
Pete Davidson with The King of Staten Island and all the Seth Rogen movies. It's like,
Yep.
I felt like it's been a little bit since we've had a good Apatow movie, but it has to come again, I think.
Yeah. No, this pairing, honestly, it makes a lot of sense. And to, like you said, doing it that way, it shows when the story finally delivers on screen. So nice.
All right.
Cool.
And sticking with Glenn Powell's old cast member, Sydney Sweeney and Michael Bay are teaming up for a video game adaptation film of the old Sega game.
Outrun.
Outrun. Yes, that's right, folks. I can't honestly say I remember this game.
Really? Oh shit. It's funny. I always especially in the 90s, that arcade cabinet was just in just about every arcade I could think of. The movie theaters had them, pizza places had them, but it was one of those weird standing racing games. There was no seat, pedal on the floor, but it was always that Ferrari California. There was the blonde sitting shotgun and the nameless character driving the car, but it was always like these California coastal highways and stuff like that. And
yeah,
it was a point to point racer, which I feel like you don't see as often
See,
anymore.
now when I think of arcade racers, I always go to Cruisin' because I love the theme songs and I love the landscapes.
Cruisin'
but
and Rush.
I assume it's a similar. But I find it interesting, Michael Bay doing a video game movie about racing. Like, that could be action-packed. And then Sydney Sweeney, she is kind of doing it all at this point. So
I hope
odd
she
pairing.
I hope she isn't just the passenger too. Like the fact that they
I
attached
hope
her
not, yeah.
this early, like that would be a lot cooler if she's actually. Why not make her the driver? And then
Hell yeah.
He didn't do. Correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't do Need for Speed with Aaron Paul. Did he?
No, that was
Okay.
someone else.
Oh,
yeah.
thank God. Okay, so I'm like, let's not do that again.
Was that the Aaron Paul one, right? Need for
Yeah.
Speed?
Yep.
And Michael Keaton. What a weird cast and what a bad movie.
Strange. And it wasn't like, I don't remember it feeling, because the era of Need for Speed I grew up in was not the story they were trying to tell in that movie. That was like the later offshoot ones where they start trying to criminalize what they're doing. And I don't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully this one's more in the vein of Gran Turismo, a more enjoyable racing film.
Yes, it should be about the vistas. It should be about the views, not just the cast themselves, but the car and the locations. The locations need to be
that's the key.
So hopefully that's what we get.
Now, sticking with video games and Sydney Sweeney, we now have more information on the Split Fiction movie that we talked about a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah.
He's going to be starring in it. It's going to be directed by John M. Chu, who just killed it with Wicked, and written by the duo behind Zombieland and Deadpool. I'm talking about Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. So this is a pretty interesting grouping of people coming together for this, I think.
Wow.
Very capable hands.
And they're acting fast too, because the game is still riding that tide, you know?
It just came out, like 2 months ago?
Something like that, yeah. So I mean, it's strike while they haven't taught. I totally get that. And you're assembling some good components here, so let's see. Let's see how it does.
Definitely.
I'm curious. Still haven't played the game yet. But that's fine. I like waiting until it's on sale anyway, so it'll
Fair
probably be
enough.
a year or two before I get to touch it. But hey,
Hey.
maybe by then I'll be seeing the movie. So cool.
You can play it simultaneously, see what's different, what's the same. Yeah. All right. Up next, it looks like Amazon Prime Video is going to be bringing kaijus and Jaegers back into the frame because they have greenlit a Pacific Rim series that will serve as a prequel to the first movie.
Cool. Okay. Nice. Yeah, because I mean, I remember having fun watching the first. It was so much better seeing it in the theaters. It's not one that it's easy to go back to and rewatch at home. I've tried it a couple
because
times.
the scope, the sound, the quality, something about it.
Yeah.
We've seen kaiju before, but we've never seen kaiju versus mech in that big, like glossy scenery.
Especially told in this very like anime style of like having to dual pilot all of the their
Jaegers.
I like those elements as well as like our man on the ground kind of story running parallel to them, where they're doing the scientific research to it, and the casting was brilliant on that movie.
Oh hell yeah!
So I'm curious. I would like to see us go further down this track, especially now that we've long since acknowledged we are weaving this into the Godzilla Kong universe, like
the legendary monster verse. Yep.
So
the only thing that kind of scares me, they haven't announced if Guillermo del Toro's kind of in it yet. And I feel like he's the real heart and soul that made that first one work so well. Because when he didn't do the sequel, it was a little rough, but still decent.
Yeah. It'd be nice if you left his mark somewhere in there, that, you know, at least make the presence known.
Sure.
Audience wise, have that reassurance behind the story.
Definitely.
But yeah, time will have to tell then.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, up next, it seems like Amazon Prime is bringing back Carl Urban as Dredd with a Dredd series that's going to be developed with the team behind The Boys. So it doesn't sound like they'll hold back any punches. It would be an R-rated badass show.
Oh shit! I loved his version of that movie. That dystopian dark future shit is great, and that cast was great. It's still very watchable now.
Oh yeah, I literally, when I was walking out here to my shed to record, my brother was watching it with his buddy, and I'm like, I'm like, what is he watching? And then I'm like, oh, that's Dredd. And then I saw him come on screen. I'm like, what a fucking. I always say I'm gonna rewatch it, but I'm like, if I watch it, will it hold up? And I'm hoping so.
I think it does. I mean, it's been a few months since I watched it, but the last time I did, I was just like, man, it's one of those. Yeah, I forget to have it like on the list of just, you know, background noise sort of things, because it's to be honest, it's one of those where it's almost dangerous to do that if I'm trying to get other shit done, because then I'm gonna get distracted by. I'll sit down and end up watching it for like 40 minutes. Like, okay, lost all that time.
That was a movie that came out during the 3D renaissance and the boom when everything was 3D, but I felt like that actually lent itself perfectly to 3D with the drugs and whatnot and the hallucinations they saw.
And it was good. I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it after that, but I could totally see that depth. I love just the vastness of the city, and I can totally see how it would work for a movie like that, where it's not just a gag. You're not throwing crap at the screen. It's just really giving you the size of the scope that we're working in here. So that was a good time.
I honestly hope this, because for years everyone's been wanting a sequel. There was rumors that they were going to do an animated series and this and that, and this sounds like the most like serious thing we've had yet, most tangible situation.
Especially with Carl Urban coming back as Dredd. I mean, holy shit! That he owned it. And from what I understand, I never read the comics, but apparently he got a lot closer to what the comics represented
than Sly,
than the Stallone film.
And he's kind of at the top of his game right now with The Boys killing it. And then he's going to be Johnny Cage in fucking the next Mortal Kombat. He can do anything at this point. Why not go back to his most iconic role?
There seems to be, we're in the thick of this era of like, guys, you're not hitting your stride when you're super young. You gotta, it's the little older, you know?
Which used to be the opposite. It's like, no, we want them young so they can grow into it. And now it's like, no. We want them grizzled. We want that Logan effect.
Yeah.
Fucking, it started with Liam Neeson, and now it's just spawning, and it's more badass seeing that. Honestly,
I love the faith that we now have in people are just excellent performers. The Pedro Pascals, the Walton Goggins of the acting world. I really appreciate that. Let's recognize the talent. Let's just appreciate the talent for what it is. a lot of people get splashed on screen for, I feel like, undeserved reasons, but we're
Sure.
seeing these certain people are really truly shining right now, and I'm glad Urban's having his moment too. So
Heck yeah.
that'll be badass.
Well, speaking of aging into your role, Dennis, it seems like Peacock has ordered a follow-up series to Clueless starring Alicia Silverstone.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun.
Yeah.
She's wonderful. It's
Right?
she owned, and the movie still, I think it still holds. It's a great time capsule, and it's still
Mhm.
funny, and while still touching on very like intense things at the same time.
But I want to see the return of some of those cast members, because some of them came back for the Clueless TV show. So it's like, why not come back now? Like, so many big stars from back then. Like, would Paul Rudd come back? I don't know. Maybe.
I'd be like, would they still be together?
Well, I mean, isn't he kind of her stepbrother or something?
Yeah,
or,
it's weird.
That was a weird situation.
That's that because what is it, Shakespeare that's based on?
One of those, yeah, I think so.
I forget which play it's based on. Where like I believe that is the structure for some of the characters' relationship. It is a little funky, but I mean that's where the I don't know.
But I will say I have a little faith because it's being written and executive produced by the duo behind Gossip Girls, Stephanie Savage and Josh Schwartz. And people love their shows. So if someone understands it, I think this could be people to make it tangible. Because a few years ago, they were going to give her best friend in Clueless a spinoff show, but that never actually happened. It died on the post. Like, I guess they shot it and people didn't like it. So I don't know. Hopefully this doesn't have that same effect.
With Silverstone attached, I know that's going to definitely bring an audience.
Yeah, get some people interested.
Yeah,
definitely. So, speaking of IPs from the past, it sounds like Ryan Gosling will be producing a Killer Clowns from Outer Space remake for Amazon and MGM Studios. Now, I don't get it.
Do you think he's going to be in it, or is this a pet project sort of thing where like he just loves the movie and wants to see the property come back?
I think if he wants to get it made, he'll be in it, because if he's in it, there's no way they're going to turn him down. Like,
but as a clown.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, the guy takes some heavy swings with the things that he chooses to do. So why not do a villain, an alien clown?
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be fun.
I know. I want to see him coat somebody in fucking cotton candy, cotton candy cocoon.
Right.
I know there's other things he's attached to that I'm very much looking forward to.
You want to talk about that, Dennis? Let's talk about that.
We got a Star Wars thing happening here, so
yes. We know, of course, a few episodes ago, we talked about the fact that he and Sean Levy were coming together for a new Star Wars movie, but now we have the title, Star Wars Starfighter, and we know that it's going to take place 5 years after The Rise of Skywalker, and it's not a sequel or a prequel, it's a new adventure with new characters, and it's coming to cinemas in May of 2027, May 28th, right before the end of May.
See, the only thing that kind of bummed me out about the announcement of this is I was longing for the Rogue Squadron film to be made. The original concept with Patty Jenkins, Chris Pine getting attached to it, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I love those characters. Especially a heavy dogfighting sort of Star Wars movie would be cool. I'm not disappointed, of course, because they as we've seen, not new IP, but new storylines in the Star Wars universe have proven fruitful. So why not go for something very original? And I'm all for it.
Now, not to say they can't still do that Patty Jenkins one. And here's the thing. Sean Levy and Patty Jenkins are completely different types of people. You're going to get a more flashy, family-friendly style movie with Sean Levy, but I think with Patty Jenkins, you're going to get something a little more gritty, a little more grounded, and a little more action-oriented, not as cartoony. But that's not to say one will be better or worse than the other. They're just going to be different.
Exactly. Just different stories to enjoy.
Have you ever played the video game from the early 2000s, Star Wars Starfighter? Apparently, there's a game back, I want to say, on like Dreamcast, maybe?
Oh, God. I don't know. I never had the Dreamcast.
I think it was about like Naboo fighters and whatnot, but I don't think this has anything to do with this.
Naboo Starfighter was a game. There was Naboo Starfighter was that I remember it came out on the GameCube. It takes place during the Clone Wars, or like the first the early hours of it and whatever. But I vaguely recall that it might have been a Hollywood video rental back in the day, because that was in that they were just milking the fucking prequel series for everything.
Right.
What was it? The Kenobi game. There was a few of those where it's like we got to jump on it right now. Kind of.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I was at the theater yesterday, and I walked past multiple times. I saw a few movies. Walking past theaters and hearing fucking episode 3 playing and blasting out of theaters is just so magical to see and hear. And people are going on droves. It made almost, I think, $40 million being re-released. Like, people are loving it. For a franchise prequel series people hate, it's definitely having its day again, which is fantastic.
I definitely got to give props to those who are getting that second chance. Like, I think Hayden Christensen kind of got burned really hard back then. I'll still stand by it. They are not the best Star Wars movies. The dialogue is pretty bad.
No.
But you have really cool action. You're seeing the moments that lead up to the creation of Darth Vader. Spoilers,
yes,
in case you're not aware. I love the things we are introduced. There's characters that I've come to know and love since then. There's whole other storylines and shows that have come out of this era. So I have a lot to thank for those prequel movies. I feel bad for those who kind of got shafted on just some bad writing. It's not even like that they were bad. They just got kind of dealt a bad hand, but in the end. But
then guess what? They might not be that great, but then you compare it to our sequel series trilogy, and they look a little bit shinier and glossier.
Exactly. I think what's funny is I've talked to more recent Star Wars fans who've made that comparison. I'm like, I'm not even arguing with you there. That's legit. It's kind of, and what's funny is I think that'll happen again in another decade.
Oh, heck yeah.
Of people saying the same thing about the sequel trilogy. So, which by then we're going to have another half dozen other Star Wars movies that they can fight about. That, like, one of the most toxic fucking fandoms are Star Wars.
Oh, it's not good, man.
We can't be allies for some reason. Everybody is just so rooted down in their opinion, and I kind of find it entertaining. So
now, one thing I don't have a slide here or much information about, but I want to hit you up because I thought about you when I heard it. What's your take on Maul, the Darth Maul? I think it's like Shadow Lord, I think it's called, the animated.
Yeah, I'm pumped because you're bringing back oh shit. Now I can't think of his name. The voice actor who did like all of Darth Maul's voice through all the shows. Damn it, I can see his face. It's the actor whose face is in the Star Wars: The Force Unleashed games.
Oh, here we go. Sam Withers.
Sam Witwer.
Witwer.
Yes, he's great. He's all about the Star Wars fandom. He's a Star Wars fan himself. Just a killer voice for it. I loved that season of Clone Wars where like almost all of it is living in like the dark side sort of thing. They even changed the opening sequence so it was all red, and it was just I seeing that era, and they teased it. They just fucking teased us so good at the end of Solo. I want to see that end of the storyline.
And I just remember when we went to go see Solo and he popped up, it's like, oh fuck, we're getting him back, and then that fizzled away. And now with Maul Shadow Lord, we're getting it in 2026. Might not be a movie, but you can do so much more over the course of multiple episodes and seasons than a movie. So it might be even better.
And we know with our favorite animated Star Wars, Helmer, he's going to steer it the right direction. I have yet to watch one of his series that has let me down. So
fair enough.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. All right. And speaking of Sean Levy, he directed Deadpool and Wolverine. We now have word that Ryan Reynolds is tinkering with some new Deadpool thoughts. He was asked about the future of Deadpool in the MCU, and he said, I'm writing something right now. It's a little ensemble, but I like that he's isolated. If Deadpool becomes an Avenger or X-Man, we're at the end. That's wish fulfillment, and we can't give him that. And so I'm kind of intrigued because, of course, now we're getting the X-Men, and he's got to be in this new sequel Avengers movie, at least Secret Wars. But not joining either team is an interesting way to go. Who could they team him up with? Anybody at this point. I'd really like to see him in Spider-Man. But
oh god, yes, that's he's. I feel like in the comics he's been paired with virtually everybody, and he's one of those like even when this, I believe even the symbiote tried to attach itself to him. He's just like, fuck this, this guy's insane. Venom's like, nope, I'm out. No, that'll be fun. But I totally get it. If he's only a cameo in something like Secret Wars, that's perfect because we don't.
Yep, you just get enough of it.
Because the combination of other dimensions and planets and things, it would make sense to see a flash of him go by. But then he 100% has to just look straight into the lens and just point out everything that's happening. But no, I mean, why not? He's proven that the stories are still entertaining. Seeing Deadpool do his thing. Let's go for it. I don't even think he's gone as far as the character can go. No,
and that's the nice thing. Anybody who's like, oh, I want an easy paycheck could be like, yep, fold them in with X-Men, fold them in with the Avengers. But the fact that Ryan Reynolds cares enough to say he doesn't belong in his own, he should be an ensemble player. That's beautiful. And the fact that he is recognizing that and giving other people chances to shine alongside him, you don't get that with very many stars, I feel like. It's all about them normally.
And then I like that he helped prove the point that other characters need to get that shine again. Like pulling Gambit back out and getting to see a tiny glimmer of what could have been had we actually,
and even the fact that he pulled Blade back in with Wesley Snipes, even though they hated one another and he was treated like shit, and he still gives Wesley enough respect because he understands he was like the godfather of the Marvel world for films for quite some time.
Exactly.
It's just beautiful.
Yep. 100% agree with that. Yeah. That'll be cool. If he's taking the time to write it and he doesn't rush through things, which he didn't the last time, I'll be looking forward to when that one gets released.
Yeah. Heck yeah. And then a couple of episodes ago, we talked about the fact that we're getting a new movie starring Brad Pitt that was written by Quentin Tarantino. And now this film's going to be directed by none other than fantastic filmmaker himself, Mr. Why can't I think of his name right now? I suck with my notes. I just put out a fucking story. Sorry, I'm terrible right now. Woo.
But we're getting
Fincher. David Fincher, folks. I'm sorry. Yes. Well, anyways, now we have some updated. Deadline was interviewing Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. We got a little bit of spicy information here. It turns out that the movie is going to be called The Continuing Adventures of Cliff Booth, and the plot is expected to follow Cliff Booth as he becomes a studio fixer in Hollywood, and it's a little bit more of in modern times, not set in the same time period Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was taking place in. It's a decade or so later on. But the fact that Michael B. Jordan kind of leaked that information seems a little odd, but interesting.
Okay. I mean, and telling. There's clearly some involvement there. Or at least he's in the loop on something. So, and that's kind of cool too, because then Brad Pitt's kind of, let's be honest, gets to play his actual age in this movie. And I like that sort of period piece-esque feeling without having to abide by it needing to be the era that the original film took place in. So that'll be cool. And we know he can play the character. His character is great. So
like, I hate it Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but when he was just driving around doing his thing, I was engaged because he's that fun and interesting to watch. And the character's so laid back. Yes. He doesn't take anything too serious as this character. So watching a whole film based on that and seeing him fixing things around Hollywood could be kind of fun.
Oh, absolutely. It'd be like an 80s set, sort of like the studio.
Yeah, I think so.
Bottom of the stories getting told. That'll be great.
Right?
People airing out their dirty laundry in a script format that people can pretend like it's not real when some of that shit very likely did happen.
Oh, 100%. And if you know anything, Tarantino knows about old school Hollywood. So he would definitely put that in his film, I would assume.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. And then last up here, we have news that a director named Matt Johnson, who made this fantastic movie I reviewed a couple of years ago called Blackberry, is now in talks to direct the Magic the Gathering movie for Hasbro and Legendary. interesting choice.
It's not one I would have expected, but like if it's about telling the story while giving the characters enough motivation that we can back them for whatever that their goal is, whatever their mission is, whatever the quest might be, especially in this kind of world. Like there's a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot of lore that's been established. So sifting through all of that shit to shine on one or two things to get the audience invested in. Because let's be honest, they're not going to make one of these. This is something.
No, this is a franchise, hopefully.
Yeah. 100%.
You don't just take that much time to say, let's do one of the biggest IPs we have as a film.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, the card game that's been around for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
It's going to be, that's some heavy shit to dig into. So I'm curious what that's is going to become. I mean,
right. It could be so much. And now Magic is like, we'll take your franchise you know and love, and that's a part of Magic now. So it's like there's so much that it's spread into.
Yeah, definitely. I know there's a lot of back and forth as to the usefulness of a lot of those cards, but it's fun to see all these other IPs getting mixed in and stuff. And now obviously that won't get touched on in the film, but I think that tone, there's as magical and like perilous as the stories should be, there should be a sense of fun and adventure to it as well, because there is humor in there as also like
and that's the thing that I really liked about this movie Blackberry. It was about the invention of BlackBerry, but it was funny, it was dark, and you could tell that there was a lot of love and craft that went into it, and by a man who seems like he understands nerd culture. So to take someone like that, I assume he has probably a decent knowledge on Magic the Gathering. Exactly. It could be an interesting combination. I think you described exactly the tone you should approach a story that you want to pull out of the Magic the Gathering universe. That's how it should come off, is what you said right there. That's perfect. Yeah. So hopefully that all pans out. Yeah. I know it's weird right now. He's out here in Boston. He's making an Anthony Bourdain biopic. So it's weird to go from Anthony Bourdain to Magic, but why not? Fuck it.
Hey, I mean, that guy had a way with words. I still love just hearing the quotes and watching old episodes of his shows. He had, I was a big fan of his. I've yet to read his books. That's something I still.
I hear they're good. I think that's what this movie's based on. Like a weekend he spent in like Providence Town or Cape Cod or something.
Oh wow! Oh cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Could be interesting. Anyways, people aren't here to talk about speculation of that.
Tony Bourdain.
But they might want to hear results from a little thing we like to call polls.
Yeah, I love that one.
Oh, it's a banger, dude. I wake up, that's my ringtone for my alarm clock in the morning. It's just catchy.
Oh.
Don't like to toot my own horn, but I do anyways. All right, up first in our polls here, I reviewed on episode 212 the latest movie from director Alex Garland, Warfare. So I wanted to know what the Toasties' favorite Alex Garland movie was out of Ex Machina, Annihilation, Men, and Civil War. All very different in ways.
Yeah. I remember I loved seeing Annihilation on the big screen. That
it has a beautiful look.
The soundtrack was great, but I would have to give it to Civil War because that is just even rewatching it, it's still so impactful, and just the intensity to it still strikes a chord with me.
And that's the thing, Ex Machina, I want to say is mine because I remember leaving the theater being blown away. Annihilation, I remember it looked beautiful, sounded beautiful, but I just wasn't on board. And man, I was just like, what am I watching? But Civil War is one of those movies, like you said, it's so powerful and so finely crafted and executed. In my eyes, it's Civil War with you.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah. But let's find out what the Toasties had to say.
What they got.
0% for Annihilation. Sorry, Padme. Okay. It's not you.
Ladies.
0% for Men. Sorry, I don't give a fuck. 34% for Civil War. Once again, we're close, but not on the money with our audience. So that leaves 67% for Ex Machina. So I can't complain about that. It was a fine film.
Oh, sexy robots. All right, I get it.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
You betcha. Oh, boy. All right, up next on episode 212, I also reviewed the latest Rami Malek movie, The Amateur. So I wanted to know, out of all the oeuvre of Rami Malek, what the Toastie's favorite film was out of Oppenheimer, No Time to Die, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Night at the Museum. Sure, he might not have been front and center in all these movies, but his ass was in them.
I was gonna say Night at the Museum. Well, I'm trying to think of.
He played King Tut's son.
That's right. I totally forgot about that. That's funny. Tutankhamun. Dang. I mean, I like seeing him as a bad guy. I do appreciate that aspect of it, because he can do
one man to ever kill James Bond. Yeah. Spoilers. Intense.
And then he becomes.
No, you're supposed to say that before. No. Yeah. We're just ruining movies for everyone now.
He really spans just like whatever. I mean, he can do kind of whatever. I don't know. That's a tough one. You chose some good things. I bet Bohemian Rhapsody is totally what puts him front and center. Freddie Mercury,
he killed it in that.
Will stand the test of time. So it's probably my choice there. What about you?
I think I'm gonna go with your first thought. I'm going with him as the villain in No Time to Die. But let's find out what the Toasties had to say. 0% for Oppenheimer. I'm a little surprised because people loved that movie. But I get it.
Yeah, it's not his movie, so yeah.
I mean, it's not any of the 99 background actors who are famous celebrities popping up in it.
Right.
It's only one man, Mr. Cillian Murphy.
That's right.
7% for my choice, No Time to Die. People don't get time for that, Dennis.
No time for that shit.
40% for Night at the Museum. This surprised me. I really thought it would have been lower. I'm happy to see people respect it.
He's on the poster right there.
He is.
I'm like, oh shit, see, he was there. Damn it. Okay, he was.
But that was like at his peak beginning film. Like he was on some TV series before, and that was like his breakout role, I think.
Because it wasn't Mr. Robot was after Night at the Museum.
Oh yeah, that was much further down the line.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. And that leaves 53% for Bohemian Rhapsody. So you're on the winning side today, Dennis.
It's a legend of rock and roll right there. It's hard to beat that. And then he just owned that role so well.
Yes.
I remember
he didn't shy away from the good, the bad, or the ugly. He went for it all. Balls deep in the role.
That's right. Freddie's balls.
Woo! All right, folks. If you want to take part in the polls, every Saturday after an episode drops, I put out a poll for each film over on our X page at movie_toast, and that stays up for a whole week. So if you ever feel like, hey, I want to answer a poll for this movie review podcast I listen to, head over our X page and do a little voting.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's just about that lights, camera, action review time. What do you think?
Oh, you bet your ass it is, Dennis. Let's get into those reviews.
Lights, camera, action, it's review time. Dennis and Adam, we gon' blow your mind. We're stepping up to the plate, ready to swing. Analyzing movies like a scientist would bling.
Blingin' scientist. Love it.
All right, Dennis. I am going to kick us off here this week with a little movie from A24 called The Legend of Ochi. All right, this movie is really interesting. It's an A24 movie for children. All right.
That's not something I ever thought would happen, but
no, not at all. It's like, what the hell would that be? But let me tell you, it is like an 80s child movie. All right. It's dark. It's brooding. They deal with some pretty serious stuff. It has realistic puppet animated characters. It has miniature sets. It's just stunning. It has this like gorgeous score. But let me tell you about the plot, I guess. All right. So it's about a young girl who's being raised by her father, and her father teaches all the young men on their small little island how to hunt these evil creatures known as the Ochi. Now, they're known to kill and maim humans and animals on the island. So this is a skill everyone needs to have. Mm-hmm. And his daughter has an issue with him because he always says her mother left because she didn't want anything to do with her. And she just kind of resents her dad for telling her this all the time. And of course, one day while she's checking all the traps that her dad has set in the forest behind their land, she discovers a baby Ochi. I can't speak today. I'm sorry. She discovers a baby Ochi. I can't fucking say the word, apparently. She discovers a baby Ochi in a trap. Its leg is caught. It's bloody. It's afraid of her, and she wants to help it out. And she realizes it's missing its mother, and it should be with her mother, just like she should be with her mother. So she goes off on an epic quest to find its mother and return it home, as her father and a group of boys are trying to hunt her down and find her. It's this very heartwarming, genuine, crazy movie that I loved every second of, man.
Awesome. Okay.
And like this creature is like kind of a cross between like Grogu and Gizmo and a monkey, and it's so sexy because you can like see the way it breathes. You can see its chest inflate and deflate, and like its eyes blink, and like the way it moves. Its practicality is something we're missing in movies these days, and we're getting it in the score with this movie. Like this movie is insane. I loved almost every second of it, and I unfortunately don't really know the young actress who plays the main character. She was in that Tom Hanks Western movie called The News of the World.
Oh, News of the World. Yeah. That was great.
I
liked that.
And I guess she's German, so she has this American accent. And it sounds a little hard to understand what she's saying sometimes, but that's all right because she's just killing it in this role. Right. And the only two actors who you'll recognize, it's a very small cast, as her like quasi stepbrother being raised by her dad is fucking a guy from a movie I reviewed a couple of episodes ago called Finn Wolfhard in the movie Hell of a Summer. He's in it. He's pretty good, but her dad is played by Willem Dafoe, and he's fantastic. And once he's going on the hunt to find her, he's wearing like this Shogun outfit, and it's like, what the fuck is? Okay, sure, but I loved it. It was funny. But this movie was epic. Okay. I loved it. I'm going to give The Legend of Ochi 3.5 slices of toast.
Damn, nice, man.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I was curious.
Don't know why I'm not giving it.
I didn't hear.
It just came out. It's a very small movie.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now I'm very intrigued. I'll check that out when it crosses my path here. Nice.
And it was filmed on film, I believe, because it has that like grainy texture and darkness and rich colors. And it feels like a movie that you could have seen back in the 80s. Like it feels like it belongs in the conversation with like, let's say, A Never-Ending Story or Goonies or even E.T. kind of. Like it fits in perfectly with those types of films.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I love that. I love to hear that, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I believe I have one more movie before you jump in here. I do apologize.
Don't apologize. What you got?
I got the latest video game adaptation, Until Dawn. All right, now I've never played the game, and I hear that there's a little bit of pushback by fans of the game because it doesn't follow the story of the game. But what it does here, it's very interesting. All right, so it's about a young woman whose sister went missing about a year ago. And our main character and like 4 of her friends are going out on the 1-year anniversary trying to find her. And they go to the last place they know she was at, which is like this welcome center in the middle of nowhere. And they get trapped in this like Groundhog's Day style situation where they're being murdered brutally by these different fears come to life every night. And the only way to survive is by overcoming your fears. And they only have a limited amount of time because they can look at this guest book of all the people that have signed in. And I believe it's like 13 nights they have. And it's just interesting. Like it has a really fun premise. All the deaths are like unique and interesting. The execution was pretty flawless. The way they edit it and cut it, perfect. And the fact that these characters remember their deaths and like are reacting to the death when they're back in the last situation. It's crazy. Yeah. It felt a little bit repetitive by the end. It was a tad bit long, but
not quite that Dennis Quaid perspective one. That was goddamn annoying.
No.
Interesting. I have to say though, as you're explaining the plot, I'm like right away I can tell it's like, okay, that sounds nothing like the game at that point. So I'm curious why. But is the story of this film trying to instill the emotion of playing the game multiple times?
I would assume so, yeah. And now what's interesting, right before the movie ends, they cut to something, and that is like a teaser of what's to come if they did another, and apparently that's setting up the actual premise of the video game itself. So it's like,
okay,
I get wanting to do your own thing, but that's a ballsy move.
Yeah.
Will it work? I don't know.
Yes.
But I will say it's interesting because this was directed by a guy that I really like, David F. Sandberg. He did the last two, or I guess the only two Shazam movies. First one I loved. Second one I was lukewarm on. But his original feature debut of directing, his directorial debut, some would call it, was a little movie called Lights Out. So this is a return to horror. And there's some genuinely good, frightening scares in this movie. And like,
Nice.
he understands like how to get the emotions out of his characters and actors. And I had a fun time watching it. Wasn't the best movie, but it wasn't the worst film.
There you go.
I'm gonna give Until Dawn. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say the point of Until Dawn 2 is it should be that shock value, and all those on-screen deaths are those things that are supposed to shock you and give you those emotions. So like, sounds like they hit that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that was nice. I really dug that aspect of it. Yeah, I'm going to give Until Dawn 2 slices of toast, just middle of the line. Fine little film.
Fair enough.
I can't speak today. I am so sorry, guys. I'm stumbling left and right. This is terrible. Sorry. But you got a movie that I wanted to watch, but I just didn't have time to watch, man. I can't wait to hear about this one.
Ah, yes. Okay, I was curious which one was first in the lineup. I'm going to be talking about a very recent addition to the Netflix catalog over from Japan called Bullet Train Explosion. So this is a spiritual sequel to a 1975 Japanese film called Bullet Train. That this is about a group of passengers starting their day off on at a train station. We're following not just a group of high school students who are getting a guided tour of just like the function of the train and how it all works and stuff. But we're also following the conductor himself as he's giving this he's giving a tour of the train and the station. He's got there's a new guy on the train, just kind of like day in the life. He's very proud of his job. It's up to them to move hundreds, thousands of people a day on one of the fastest trains in the world. And of course, something terrible happens. A terrorist calls in and says, "I put bombs in the train. If you go below 100 kilometers an hour, the bomb will detonate." And it's a fully loaded 350 passengers on this train doing 120 kilometers an hour. They got to keep this thing moving. So where it has this elements that may sound familiar to a movie like Speed. Turns out Speed wasn't even the first one to think of it. That came from back in 75. It is a spiritual sequel because they do mention the events of the first film, but it's not technically the sequel to it, but definitely inspired by it.
In the universe almost.
Sure, yeah, roughly. Our star of the film is Tsuyoshi Kusanagi. There you go, got it out there.
You got it.
He does a great job playing his conductor character is awesome. I like the pride he takes in what he does. It's we're ensuring the safety of all. I'm ensuring the safety of all my passengers. We're getting them there on time. We're keeping our timetable. Even when a terrorist threat affects all of the passengers in this plane, he's doing everything he can to try to keep people safe, calm, and resolve the problem as best as possible. We've got this cast of characters. There is this internet like financial advisor guy who's got his shtick going. We have a Republican Party representative who's running for office that a lot of people have mixed feelings about. There is a guy who, at his helicopter tour company, crashed a helicopter and a group of elementary school students, killing him.
Oh, shit.
Like, people really hate this guy. You've got this, we've got the class of high school students. It's this mix, this broad spectrum of characters all trapped in the same place. And it's a pretty cool story. It jumps right the fuck in to the thick of it, though. We waste very little time. Once we meet everyone, we get on the train, boom, the call comes in, the threat's made, and the stakes are heightened, or stakes are raised. One thing, though, I will mention real quick, it is 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Okay.
It's a little long for the story we're telling.
You're going to have some free time to watch?
Yeah, I just don't think everything we see on screen is necessarily needs to be there. I get why it's all there, though. It doesn't feel like we're dragging our feet too much. I did start getting a little distracted once we hit the beginning of the third act, because I kind of felt like we kind of already approached the end, just to rip open this whole new perspective. And now this whole other storyline kicks in that I was kind of like, okay, I don't know if I'm really on board for that end of the storyline. But I do like the heart of the film we have here. I will say there is a surprising amount of practical things done.
Nice.
There's a lot of bullet trains they actually just filmed going down the track.
Oh shit!
They didn't have to CG all these trains. The explosions that we do see, obviously, those are all effects and stuff. But it's got a big cast. This is a big production. There's a lot of moving pieces. Filmed on several locations throughout Japan. This is just scale wise, it's a big movie. They cover over 500 kilometers in this over the telling of the story. It takes place over about 6 hours. The events of the film. So it's a badass little flick, but again, it goes on a little long. You could tell not everyone is like the biggest actor or like the best at what they're trying to portray. So even not even speaking Japanese, I could hear some kind of the things kind of getting put on a little more than other cast members did. But I still had a decent time watching it. So I'm going to give Bullet Train Explosion, available right now on Netflix, 2.5 slices of toast.
Not bad, not bad. I'm looking forward to that. I really wanted to watch it, so I'm happy you checked it out, and it wasn't a total waste of time. And
no. I think it's still a decent ride. I just wish, honestly, I think if you were to trim out like half an hour of this thing and made it tighter, I probably would have bumped it up to a 3, because I was super on board for the first act, and then it started dragging its feet a little before picking it back up at the end. So
fair enough. Nice.
Yeah. What you got?
All right. Well, I have the latest Ryan Coogler movie, Sinners. All right. So this is an interesting movie. It kind of feels like an olden day style story in the vein of From Dusk Till Dawn. All right. It's about these two twin brothers, who return home to their small town in Mississippi back in the Jim Crow era. Now, they've traveled the world, they've made friends, they've made enemies, but what they've made is a lot of money, and they stole a lot of alcohol and whatnot, and they plan on opening their own juke joint in their town, so the folks working at the plantations in their city can come and unwind after work, and they can make a little bit of money along the way. And the first part of this movie is about them coming back to town, meeting everybody, getting everything set up, and opening up this joint. And all goes pretty smoothly. And then the second act, we're watching as everyone's drinking and dancing and having a blast. And then it gets really, really insane, because some vampires show up and they want to enter, and they'll do anything they can to get in, and mayhem and chaos ensues. All right, this movie is pretty interesting. It has a kick-ass soundtrack, but then the score is even better, in my opinion.
Oh, wow.
The cinematography is stellar. It was shot on film, and you can tell it just has this beautiful look to it. And I saw it at one of the 7 IMAX theaters that's playing it in like the 1:4:3:1 format, I believe it is. So it's like the widest, most possible way to see it, and like you're just engrossed in this like visuals, and it's so sexy. Watching these vivid colors and the grain, and the editing is fast and slick and just so sexy. The action sequences are top notch, and there's a handful of really phenomenal jump scares, and it's nice. A lot of blood and gore, and that's really fun. The characters are fully fleshed out, and they all have these like silly ass names that are fantastic. Like our twins are named Smoke and Stack, so they're the Smokestack twins. And I forget some of the other names, but every time they say names, I'm just like, oh, that's so fucking funny. But cool. It's like suiting to the time. And the acting is fantastic. And surprisingly, this is a really sex positive movie. Like they talk about sex all the time, and they talk about eating pussy left and right. And then they show sex and pussy eating all over the place in this movie. They don't hold back at all. Now, my only flaw here is they set up throughout the whole first and second act that these brothers made a lot of enemies, and that's going to bite them in the ass eventually. So I'm like, oh shit, somehow the vampires are going to be the enemies. We'll find out. But no, No, the vampires is happenstance. We don't see any of their enemies come to town to seek them out. And the weird thing is, our main vampire that then starts his vampire cult essentially is Irish. And it's about this Irish vampire wanting to steal the culture and music from the African American folks. And it's kind of weird. And there's these odd little dance numbers. Like there's one that like spans time and space in the juke joint before shit hits the fan. That's beautiful to watch. It almost looks like a oneer, and it's long. It's awesome. But for me, I'm like, I could do without it. And then there's like this musical number with the fucking vampires singing in this Gaelic accent. And I'm like, this is just silly as shit. But everyone's giving it their own. And I really had a fun time watching this. Is this the best movie in the world, like everyone's saying? No. Is it the best Ryan Coogler movie? Possibly. It's nice to see him doing an original IP again, because he started off with Fruitvale Station. That was great. But then he got stuck in franchise hell with Creed and Black Panther. Both fine franchises, but seeing the scope that he can do. And this movie is killing it. I have seen tons of people in the theaters going to see this. And like, honestly, I went to an 11:30 a.m. showing, and I showed up early because it wasn't reserved seating at this IMAX I went to. And people were lining up super early just to get a good seat in this movie. And I went to the movie theater this week, and tons of people there seeing it, and it's making money. So this is like beautiful. It's like Minecraft and now this both are Warner Brothers films, and they're killing it in the top two spaces at the box office.
And then, as like you touched on before, I love that, like you said, original IP. Let's restore faith in original stories again. That just like gets me jazzed. That's awesome.
And it was a small budget, but what he did with this budget and scope was just unique and interesting to see. And it's made its money over and over again. It's not as big as Minecraft was, but it's making a fuckload of money.
There you go.
And it's great. So I'm intrigued, and stick around if you see it, because there's this performance during the end credits that's kind of fun and relevant to the film. And then there's a really cool post-credit scene that could continue our story at a later point in time that would be fun to watch, I think. But if we never get that, whatever. But honestly, there's this one really haunting sex scene with Haley Steinfeld and Michael B. Jordan that has just been living in my brain for a while, and it's crazy. I want to talk about it, but it's better to just experience. And that's the other thing. In Warner Brothers 2025 film slate, we have two other movies where we have actors playing multiple characters. Mickey 17, which was all right. It was good. Him playing multiple characters. It was believable. And then the Alto Nice, we had Robert De Niro playing two characters, and that was a fucking hot mess. But here, as Smoke and Stack, it's almost seamless. Like, B. Jordan is great. They both have different characteristics that are rich and unique to each other, but they come together perfectly as twins do, I guess. Yeah.
And that guy's got so much talent. It doesn't surprise me too that he can play both those parts with some individuality, and it's not just him twice. You know, that's awesome.
Exactly. And then we have like people like Delroy Lindo, who we both really love. He's awesome in this movie. And then there's this young, like, kind of gospel singer who is a real gospel singer in real life, who's like their cousin, and he's a crux to the story, and he's fantastic. We're getting B11, I think her name is, the TVA head of TVA from Loki. She's one of their lovers, and she's great in it. And everyone just has these rich characters, and I'm going on way too long. All I'm going to say is go see Sinners in the cinema if you get a chance, folks.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm gonna shut up. But you have something that I jumped on and watched as well. That
I think we skipped over a very important detail.
Yeah.
How many slices, sir?
Son of a bitch! I didn't do that. Wow, good catch. Thank you. I'm gonna give Sinners 3 slices of toast. Like I said, not the best, but not the worst. It's definitely a fun watch.
Still a good time though. Nice.
Yes.
Awesome.
And I
couldn't ask for more.
Like I said, everyone's going to cinemas right now. This week was still busy, and it looks like the box office is thriving. This is the first week in the whole year that there's a lot of things clocking in pretty high, and it's nice to see cinema might be bouncing back. I don't know. Nice. But you got something here that's not in the cinema and anybody can watch with Netflix that I would love to talk about with you.
Very true. We're turning back the Netflix again.
Yeah.
It's a little flick called Havoc. Although, now, I hate to say it, but I think your image is for a different movie with the same title.
No. It's just a very weirdly drawn thing because, as you can see, you know what? Maybe you are. I thought it wasn't because it looks like Tom Hardy. It looks like what's his face
Not
from
Forrest
Justified or
Whitaker.
whatever.
You know what's funny? It
It's
just
just
looks like a concept
It's
drawing.
a very weird fan made picture.
It is. No, it's funny because like now the more I look at it, I'm like, no, I guess it's the movie. It's just like generic people's faces instead. Anyway, sorry. Didn't mean to, I was just like, wait a minute. That looks
Yeah, it's not the best one. It's not. If you're watching, I pulled this and it's probably
that's
fan
funny.
art.
No, but you know what?
Sorry.
No, I'm looking at IMDb.
It's crude.
Right
It looks
now.
like an AI version, kind
I'm
of.
looking at IMDb right now. That is what the poster looks like. So I'm very confused. But regardless, the
I agree. Sorry.
Gareth Evans written and directed film Havoc that is on Netflix right now. That's right. Gareth Evans wrote and directed this one. This is coming from if you're a fan of The Raid, or I personally love his other Netflix film, The Apostle, creepy as fuck and brutal ass movie. Loved how weird that one got. But this is a straight up action film starring Tom Hardy, where he's a grizzled American cop in a nameless, fictitious urban sprawl, where we're seeing this guy who's just been this cop who's just been beaten down, not really drawn the best straw in life, maybe partook in some nefarious activities, but still tries to see the world in black and white like everyone else. We're picking up on the mayor of the city's son was involved in some really, really bad gang dealings, and he's asked Tom Hardy's character to go find him, bring him out, like make him safe. So not only is he getting chased by gangs, he's getting chased by other cops who've done some bad shit. Now the gang that they stole drugs from or money from has been split in two because there's two heads of the gang who are fighting for power, and he's thrown into the middle of it. And this movie, as soon as you hit go, it never lets off the gas. We're seeing a pretty classic grizzled Tom Hardy with I think it's kind of an amusing American accent that he does that I don't like. It's whatever, you know, we all know it works for him. But it gets a little, this is an action film through and through, but let me tell you, that's all you should show up for.
Yes.
This is not a heavily story driven film. This is not a film for great dialogue.
But action, some fantastic, like 10, 15-minute long sequences that are just so stellar. I'm like, this is amazing. And then I'm like, yeah, the Raid and Raid Redemption makes sense. Exactly. So insane. But like you said, the story is just kind of flat and weak. And
there's no twist to this movie. It's like, that's what's wild to me. I thought that we were like, there's elements in the first act that normally people would only have written or show the audience in the third act. All of that's pushed up front. Boom. We're telling you everything. These are the crooked cops. This is who's connected to who. Go. And then it just fucking sprints to the end. At an hour, 45 minutes, it kind of goes by.
Dragged a bit to me, personally. Like, damn.
I'd say a lot of, like you said, a lot of the action sequences, it's like 15 minutes straight.
Yeah, that's true.
Brutal, bloody action. And then all of a sudden we hit the brakes for like a little bit of story just to then hit the gas again. One of the things that really, and funny enough, because I watched it the same day as I watched Bullet Train Explosion, is how many non-practical effects are in this. And to the point, it got a little distracting. I mean, every goddamn time we got in a car, everything was CG. Like that opening chase sequence was kind of cool, but it just felt so cartoony. And anytime we have big movements like that, boom, it's like full CG scenes.
But what I will say I liked about that scene in particular, and most of this movie, was the cinematography. The way the camera moved throughout the city and any space we're in, like it really got you in the zone. It was the most immersive cinematography I think I've seen in quite some time.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, no, that's very true. I do love,
but like you said, very CG.
It's there was just times I felt it got a little distracting to the point to where like there's not even like, because it's a made up city, there's no landmarks for you to grab like that are recognizable. Everything is just kind of generic big city sprawl. but there was cool shit that would happen. That's the thing.
Sure.
As soon as I got like lulled into the like, okay, this very average sort of thing, you'd have some shocking thing like the fight in the club with the butcher knives and shit, and legs getting hacked off and people's faces getting shot off with shotguns, and like you have these epic things, and then I would just get disappointed with some really stupid dialogue or something. This movie just kind of was like this tug of war of like, as long as you're just here for the action, you won't be disappointed. If you want anything else, I'm sorry. I wanted to like this one more, and Tom Hardy always kicks ass, and he did yet again in this movie. But it's not like, it doesn't have that impact like, say, a Mad Max would, or other films of that caliber. This is it was kind of fun, but it wasn't impressive enough for me to like really recommend it to a lot of other folks. Unless, like I said, unless you just want some blood and bullets, there you go. That's there in space. Sprinkle a little Luis Guzman in there.
Yeah,
that was cool to see. I wasn't expecting him to be in there. Forrest Whitaker as well. I think they chose some interesting cast to be in the film, but it just wasn't enough story in there for me to sink my teeth into. So
agreed.
I'd have to give Havoc 2 slices of toast. I will say it was interesting. Apparently, this is one of the biggest films that was ever shot in Wales.
I was wondering where it was shot, because it has a very vivid look to it, kind of post-apocalyptic.
A lot of built-in stage
set, like backdrops and like cities.
Yep. Yeah, they really made use of the space that they had. Streets were filled with cars when they needed to be. You saw long shots of the whole, like, down the street. You weren't just staring at the sides of buildings the whole time.
Yeah, that's what I loved, how it was just moving with you.
Yeah, like the opening fight sequence in the club when they were trying to finish that deal out, and the guys came in and shot the place up. It looked cool. Again, you had that. I liked that sort of Willem Dafoe-esque moment of Tom Hardy standing there imagining how the gunfight went down.
Yes, that's what I thought from Boondocks. Yeah,
exactly.
But it wasn't as good as he did. But
him narrating it, it's which that would be too on the nose if they did that. But
it's funny though. I literally had that thought when I watched it.
Yeah,
I'm happy that you did too.
Oh, totally. You could tell there was that little bit of inspiration there. But what's funny is like you could see that inspiration of like, I'm seeing things we saw in the raid. I mean, that he did 3 times. There's 3 of those movies that he at least wrote them. I think he only directed the first 2, but
there's only 2, and then he's supposed to do an American reboot with someone else is going to do it. Yeah, but either way, it feels like we've seen it, and it's interesting that you say that it's like you can't recommend it. This movie was shot back in 2021, 4 years ago, so clearly people have wanted to see it, but the studio kind of knew this probably isn't going to be huge. But
which is
like
funny,
you said, if you want blood and gore, you'll get it.
Yes,
action,
absolutely.
But even like when we meet his new partner, it looked like she was responding to a call, and then it's like, you're working with me now. And I'm like, wait, what? Do you guys know what? It just felt like things were happening and everything, it didn't connect.
I feel like sometimes they're just throwing things on the screen at us. And I'm like, it's not the correct kind of startling. It's not the correct kind of,
and setting up like him being a shitty dad and ex-husband, it's like, didn't need that either.
Just to then like kind of never touch it. And that none of that pays off.
Exactly.
There wasn't a big impactful thing. I remember even getting to the end. I'm like, oh my God, there's 10 fucking minutes left of this thing. And then we don't even play into any of that stuff. I'm like, I thought this is when you were going to do,
because like you said in the beginning, they set us up with these, like what you think is going to be future things. And it's like, oh, he's getting prepared to do some badass things. And it's like, nah, that happened.
And then we totally take a left turn, and then we just 90 miles an hour that direction. But like I said, I know there are a lot of folks that will be perfectly content with that sort of content. And by all means, go check it out. If you just like seeing Tom Hardy on screen, go for it. I still think there's things to enjoy. Just not the best example of like Extraction. That movie had a much better story, I think, and had moments that I think had some heart. Where it's like, this is a little more Extraction 2. We know why you watched the first one. We're just gonna fucking hyper focus on the action here, and this one takes that to the umpteenth degree.
And then I'm sorry, I know we got to wrap this up, but the one thing that really I'm like, why is why is this coming out now? This is weird. It's a Christmas themed movie almost.
Oh, yeah.
Very minor, but still odd. Yeah.
You get Christmas music sprinkled throughout, and like I gotta admit, some of my favorite Christmas songs, by some of my favorite singers of the songs, but it just kind of like really has no business being here. Other than he needs to buy a convenience store Christmas gift for his daughter with a fucking clear. She's got to open the tree. She can't fucking see it. I need to. Can you wrap it for me?
You wrap it.
You can buy a newspaper, and I've got Scotch tape. So fuck you. You know that whole like.
Yeah.
I
totally could have done with that.
Well, I thought we were getting a little like John McClane sort of thing start to happen. And we don't even do that. You know.
Like, I mean, towards the end, she's like, "I'll make sure your daughter gets the gift," and he's like, "I don't give a fuck." And it's like, good,
right? I don't want to ruin the Christmas. No, the better payoff for me was the fucking main character getting to finally eat McDonald's at the end of Bullet Train Explosion. That was a better payoff for me. That was referenced in the beginning. Like that was,
that's funny.
Yeah. So I still think the action was really cool. I'm definitely not looking forward for that. Timothy Olyphant was a cool bad guy, and like I like that he wasn't just bad guy, but we got to see him have his own fight scenes. You know, like. I like that there was kind of 4 battles happening at once, and all of them were going different directions.
Yep, and you got to keep track in your head. This is that person with that person. They're working together with, and it's like, okay, cool.
Exactly.
Now, where are you on the slice scale? I think you might have. Did you say
2? Yeah.
Okay.
Two slices. Yeah. I think there's enough action to keep me entertained as far as that goes, but it just doesn't get any deeper than that for me.
Fair enough. I'm with you. I think I'd give 2. 2 is a pretty suitable area. Yeah. All right, well, like you said, with Extraction 2, this felt like I have a sequel that I'm going to talk about next. I'm talking about Ben Affleck's The Accountant 2. All right, now, you reviewed The Accountant a few episodes ago, and I'm like, I remember seeing it and thinking, it's a fine movie, nothing special about it. So I had to go back and rewatch it. It's on Max right now, I think. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that was a good movie.
That's cool.
And then I saw this one, and I'm like, oh, wow, this one is better than that one. All right. So you don't even need to see that one to fully be in the loop because they catch you up with things, but it also feels like a standalone movie. And we're getting almost all the characters from that first movie in here, with the exception of Anna Kendrick.
Which makes sense.
So, yeah, which it's not her story. But, all right, so the premise is essentially our agent who's hunting him down in the first movie, the one who's being kind of blackmailed by our old pal J. Jonah Jameson, is now kind of following up the death of one of her colleagues who left on their arm find the accountant because the accountant can help her with this case she's now working. So now we have the hunter and the hunted come together, they're working together, and they have different ways of doing things. And they need extra help. So the accountant's like, hey, I know someone who can help us. He's not an agent, but he'll get the job done. Yeah, exactly. Calls his younger brother, John Bernthal. And they're polar opposites. He's a neurodivergent guy, our accountant, and his brother is just kind of like a free-willed, see what happens, fly by your seat situation guy who loves confrontation. And it's just a wacky story. And let me tell you, it's crazy because this movie has a lot of funny moments. There's scenes where we're watching Ben Affleck doing speed dating and talking about like beating the algorithm to get ladies interested in him.
Oh my God.
We're watching Ben Affleck learn how to line dance. There's a scene where fucking
character. That's wonderful. Yes. I love that.
Yeah. And he's doing it to talk to a lady. And it's like, okay, cool. And it's fun because you're watching John Bernthal with the Budweiser in the corner being excited for his brother. And like, he's like, that's my big brother. But that's him out there. He's dancing. But then there's like another scene that I loved where clearly it looks like he's holding this woman hostage when we first meet him, John Bernthal. And she's like nervous. And he's like, what do you like? Just having a conversation. She's afraid. And she's like, I like movies. And he's like, oh yeah, what's your favorite movie? She's like, Wizard of Oz. He's like, funny story about Wizard of Oz. And he goes on about Toto making more money than the Lollipop Guild and talking about how like they must have been just a long tangent. And it's funny as hell because Bernthal is just getting to be a badass, but also flex his comedy muscles.
Nice.
And yet this movie is still brutal. When there's action moments, it is insane. Like the action is stellar. And they're dealing with some heavy stuff. All right. This involves human trafficking and kidnapping. There's a scene in this movie where we're watching a mass grave being dug for small children to go into at gunpoint. Like, so they're dealing with heavy stuff, but then it's being kind of counteracted by some crazy comedy scenes, and somehow it all works perfectly, and you don't question it. It just, I don't know. And then there's a lot of setup for different gags that are then paid off at random moments throughout the film that were just really fun and cute, which is weird to say in a movie called The Accountant too.
But the first one
I like this
too. Like,
it
sounds like they really honed in on the things that were good about the first movie, and they showed it to you again. That's awesome. That's what I wanted it to be. God, you got me so excited. I really want to see this.
And it's funny, things I picked up on rewatching the first one. I'm like, oh yeah, he's wearing that sriracha shirt. He's wearing one in this movie, so he's still wearing the wardrobe. And one of the set dressings in his Airstream that he has is a replica of a lightsaber. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And in this, we're seeing him fucking around with it, just having fun playing with it. I'm like, oh, this is what I want. Like, we're getting all the callbacks to what we saw in that first movie, and it was just awesome. I loved it.
Dude, that's so fucking cool.
I think you'd really dig this movie because I know you like the first one. And
I really enjoyed the first one.
The first one was a simple story, but this one's more complex, more action-oriented. Like, yeah, we had action in that, but this one, they really push it. And this really made me realize that Jon Bernthal might be one of the best actors out there. Like, he can do drama, comedy, action, and he's doing hardcore action, but he's not doing it like he's Frank Castle. He has different mannerisms and ways, and I applaud him for that. I love it.
That's great. Yeah. No, I'd love to hear that. Badass, man.
I'm going to give The Accountant 3 slices of toast.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I know I'm seeing it, man, especially with your...
Yeah, I hope so, dude. I really would love to talk to you about that and see your take. Like, I'm not going to lie, I was questioning, I'm like, do we need an Accountant 2? I don't think so. It's been 8 years, and they call it out. They mentioned it's been 8 years since I've seen my brother, and it's like, oh, shit. So they're not shying away that this isn't 5 days later.
Wow. Okay, cool. No, I like that. No, that's good. Because I'm with you. It's funny enough, it took me a long time to finally see The Accountant for the first time. Because I'm like, I just remember when I saw the trailer, nothing really bit at me. And then once it was on streaming, and I finally watched it, I was almost upset with myself that I took so long to finally getting around to it. But then I had that same reaction, like Accountant 2, but they tied a nice bow at the end of that movie. What are we another story for? But damn, sounds like they found the story they needed to tell.
And I'm not saying just Jon Bernthal's the best actor here. Like, seeing Affleck, who we've seen play this cocky pretty boy and whatnot and sarcastic asshole, he's really good as this guy who's on the spectrum. He just nails it, and like, he's fantastic. And they're growing upon his organization. We're seeing how the person he talks to on the phone, we're seeing how that person works, and there's a whole little world that they're building off of from that first movie that we didn't get to see in a big bad way here. And I really dug that. I forgot to mention it. Sorry.
I do like, as you touched on a little bit with Ben Affleck's character, I do like that representation of just where he comes, his background, where he comes from, his focus in life. Like, that is not a limitation for him. In fact, if anything, it gives him an advantage.
Helps.
The way
because like, our main character, the cop, she had all these things like paperwork on the wall and whatnot, and like they were staying in the safe house together. And the next morning he's like, all right, so we know that this person did this, that, and she's like, how do you know? He's like, well, here's your 1040, here's your tax returns, here's the. He's like, he went through it all, and he pieced together stuff nobody else would see.
That, and I remember related to that, seeing a little clip with Ben Affleck had his son had watched the first one recently and had sent something to him, and was just like, wow, Dad, that one was actually really good. And it's like that. I think that's the first time I've ever seen you act, Dad. That was actually entertaining. Like, I was like, wow, that's not to shit on other roles he's had, because I still think Ben Affleck's a very talented actor, but that is something we've never seen him do before, and it came with a lot of risk. And it played very, very well. I think it... Because,
if you gave this to someone else, it could have came off a little cartoony and fake and mocking people on the spectrum, but it didn't. It felt genuine and raw.
100%. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
might I say, this is the same writer director as the first movie, and he also did a movie that we reviewed back in the early days of the show on an episode I like to title, and I always think back to, called "He Wore Sweatpants," and I don't know what it's called, but it's the same guy who did that movie the way back, his basketball movie that was touching. And I just thought back to he wears
Basketball
t-shirts and
or
basketball, something silly like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I felt like I had to say it and then I forgot it. Yeah. But yeah, no, check it out, folks. Thank you guys and gals and everyone for just sticking around. I know we took a little bit of time to get here, but hopefully you found a movie that you might want to check out, or got some cool news you knew nothing about.
Absolutely. Or maybe a flick to avoid if you were unsure whether or not you wanted to add it to the queue. I think there's a lot to take away from this one. There's a lot of strong recommendations. So
definitely.
Yeah. Well, that was a solid one. I know I'm looking forward to a lot of things coming out in the future. So hopefully,
you know what I'm looking forward to, Dennis?
Oh, what's that?
I'm looking forward to Movie Toast the Festival Season 5.
Hell yes! Oh man! I'm honestly been impressed with this steady stream of submissions. I mean, we've never been short of that in the past, but I'm just like, man, it's like it was right at the gate, and they're still coming, folks. So please don't hesitate.
Yeah.
If you've got a short in your pocket, or you're tidying one up, if you can get that into us as soon as you can be a part of Movie Toast the Festival. It's a broad range of genres and subjects. We just like to show a little bit of you filmmakers that are out there, what you have to offer, because that's how all of these films we talk about start at some point, whether it's those stories or the filmmakers themselves got started making short films. This is how you make your mark. This is how you show the world what you've got. So please head over to filmfreeway.com/Movie Toast the Festival and submit your 15-minute or less short film today.
And we got stuff from like all around the world. We got fucking France, Russia, Switzerland, US, and we got a couple dozen. So we want to see more, and we want to just share your films with the world, everybody. But we also want to share our shit with the world too. So if you could follow us on all the socials, we got fucking 2 Facebooks, X, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, all at movie_toast. I'm giving out daily reviews. I'm giving out news at you every day, pimping out each episode, just trying to build a little fan base there, folks. So if you could follow us there, that'd be helpful.
Toasters be pimping.
Yeah. But you don't want to do that shit at all. But maybe you could tell us, hey, your show kind of is good or it sucks. We don't know. We're living off in oblivion here, folks. We want to know what you think about trivia. Please head over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you get this podcast and leave a review. Let us know, honestly, if it sucks, if it's good, what you think we should do more of or less of, or just anything, really.
We want to make this toast as golden, delicious, buttery as we possibly can for you, the toasties.
Yeah.
So just stop on by and let us know what you think.
Definitely. But you don't want to do any of that. We always close out the show by asking you to do one thing for yourself.
That's right, Adam. Please stay toasty.
Stay toasty. Whoa! New outro music, folks.
Misclick.
Coast to coast, from LA to the east, on the podcast show, they feast on the beast. Adam's bringing knowledge like he's Professor X. Dennis with cuts deeper than Wolverine's claws. I guess Marvel, DC, they know them all by heart. Breaking down the plot, tearing every scene apart. They got the juice like Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. Breaking down movies with a sharp precision. Adam coming in hot like a John Wick hit. Dennis bringing the heat like the climax of a Tarzan flick.
Oh boy!
I want them to make a new Tarzan movie so bad.
Oh, so dude, they have to, so we can be relevant.
Finally, just. Did you see the climax of that Tarzan movie?
It was quite the climax, Dennis. When Tarzan came all over Jane's face.
Jesus.
No, I'm not talking about a porn. I'm talking about the culmination of the whole film. Well, yeah, but when he came, that was pretty dope stuff. When he was swinging around vines, that's impressive. But dude can shoot a load like no one.
And then he's fighting. Then he's fighting crocodiles. Then he's back to Jane. crocodiles, Jane, crocodiles, Jane. For some reason, he's
Sometimes he
banging a
forgets and he
crocodile.
shoots his load at a crocodile and it shoots through like a bullet and kills him. But then
The
it
old
becomes a
Superman.
Tarzan baby crocodile mixture that haunts him. That's scary stuff. It's weird.
I come for you, father. You killed my
I'd watch that
father with
movie.
your load. I'm Crocodile Man. The abs of Tarzan, but the face of a crocodile.
It's like Killer Croc meets fucking Tarzan, like body wise.
Right, but he still wears a loincloth for some reason.
Yeah, you don't want to be jingling your fucking lizard parts to the
swims.
world.
He can't swing in a vine. He just swims
No.
everywhere. Even on
So-
land. Just
It's kind of
rolling.
awkward, like in No Way Home when fucking Spider-Man's like swinging on vines and stuff. So whenever he's not near water, it's like, what do I do?
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
my
shit.
mind wants to tell me to do what my daddy does and swing on vines, but I can't. I'm too heavy. I'm gonna chomp those things. All right, it's a flawed concept. Let's move on to something
In the
else, I
works.
guess. Let us know over at our socials. Write it for us, please. AI it. I don't know. We want to see it, but it's not porn. He
No.
didn't fuck the alligator or crocodile. He
No.
shot his load, and it shot like a bullet.
Let
it
it
was
be known.
casualty of war.
That's exactly.
Somehow
Jesus.
killing it through its head with the load, impregnated it, and gave us this killer croc
question it.
style villain.
Just it's what it is. That's
Yeah,
the
don't
story
think
takes
too
place
much on it.
after that. That's
Yeah.
the story. We don't.
Yeah,
It's the
it's
preamble.
more of a revenge movie. Gotta get revenge for killing my mama.
But I'm thinking almost like a sprawling adventure epic like Conan the Barbarian, you know? But a
Yeah.
crocodile man. The body
Oh,
of
boy.
crocodile with the blood of Tarzan coursing through his veins. But I knew the crocodile man. It's like that. It's the same narrator. Like,
Who would play Tarzan in that? Or more importantly, who would play the crocodile man?
oh, John Bernthal. There you go.
Ooh.
You just get that guttural scream when he's like, death roll.
Like, it's interesting because normally we see him using guns, but we're seeing him use his brute force. Or maybe he's shooting loads at everyone. Like weapons.
That's how he got created. I just want to see him chomp onto somebody and death roll him on the
Yeah.
And then Tarzan's like present day Schwarzenegger because he's got it.
Ooh,
I
there we
says
go.
you've come to kill me. It is time for us to do battle.
Yeah, Dad. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
Dad. I'm here to kill you.
But who would be the love interest? What would tame the crocodile man?
My heart doesn't deserve love. He's like he pushes away any love interest. Whenever
You
they get
killed my
close.
mother, so I don't know what love is.
I have no
Many
feelings for you.
crocodettes wanted to be with me, and I turned them down because there's only one blood I want to get, and it's yours.
That's
It's
right.
coursing through my veins, and I can't stop until I destroy your life.
Only after I murder Tarzan can I know love.
Or I come to steal your love of your life, Jane. She's dead.
It just
She had a tumor.
Well, oh yeah, no, I suppose I could. Yeah, there's no blood relation to Jane, so I guess that.
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. She's not his mother.
Yeah.
Stepmother? I don't know. I know what we got to get on.
It's getting very.
We got to get on
Shakespearean.
this. It's a little
It
rough.
writes itself. It's like
It
it's
really
waiting
does.
there. It's really just.
We've been
right
talking
there.
for like 15 minutes on this, and it's just getting better and better, or worse and worse. If anybody's still listening,
Apple Plus.
you want to see it. I
And-
mean, John Bernthal and Arnold Schwarzenegger with the creature feature Tarzan mix. What more could you want?
Jamie Lee Curtis plays Jane.
Oh, she'd be good, and she would dive deep in the role.
Oh yeah,
She's a real one.
you already know she has the chemistry of Schwarzenegger. It's great.
Ooh, yeah. You know what? Why don't we get their director from True Lies back too? I hear that guy's available.
Oh my god.
All
Oh god, yes.
right. Thank you all for listening and watching. Let us know if you want to hear more about the Tarzan Crocodile Man crossover,
Yeah,
because we can build on it. We can get there with
I
your
think
help.
so.
Yeah. All right, stay toasty, y'all.
Stay toasty, folks. Till next time.